here live for a very, very special Thanksgiving slate, Turkey Day slate. Grateful to have a team at Win Daily that supports everybody. Great community. Thankful to have Dave and Joel doing the show with me for the past, 10, 11 weeks. We've been kind of crushing it. Dave did take down last week, so give him his round of applause there. We'll settle our bets final like next week sometime. We owe some debt to Dave. We'll pay up next week, but appreciate you guys stopping by. Appreciate our community checking in on us and hanging out with us. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. We want to help you guys out as much as possible. We're going to be breaking down the Thanksgiving slate. I don't know about you guys, Joel and Dave, but it's my favorite slate of the year. I don't know why. Maybe because I don't really overthink it. It's 3 games, less of a slate. I'm busy all day, so I'm not like thinking I'm jinxing myself the entire slate, having some drinks, having some food, and kind of check it out, but don't really get too into my actual lineup where we'll be entering a lot of lineups. So I love the Thanksgiving slate. We actually get some good games to go into. There's some strategy here. So we're going to be breaking down the entire slate. But before we break it down, Joe, man, let's hear what you're thankful for, man, going into this slate. Is it the $100,000 you won on DraftKings about a month ago, or $50,000, or are you thankful for the fam, the new house? What is it?
I mean, generally, I'm thankful for it all. There's a lot to be thankful about, being alive. But the biggest thing I'm thankful for is DraftKings for making 2 milli makers tomorrow. I think I got to be at least one of them. So thank you, DraftKings.
There you go. Dave, it's your turn. You're not thankful for the Phillies making it to the World Series and laying a dud there. Gotta stick it to you one more time, man, before I'm that fan.
Dud. 6 games isn't a dud. But no, listen, it might sound corny. Obviously, we're always thankful for the family health. And like Joel said, just being alive, it's a great time to be alive. But I'm thankful to be part of this team. It's a winning team here at Win Daily. We just have done so well. And it's great being with all like-minded people. And it's awesome. I can't wait to talk Turkey Day, right? But you said, is it your favorite slate? And Jay, it's right there with me. It's this and Wild Card Weekend. Those games, when you can pack 4 in a weekend, so playoff weekend, divisional wild card round, Turkey Day, all box in, best weekends for DFS.
Yeah, 100%. So let's get this slate kicked off. Joe, you're the GPP master, man. You've been taking down a lot of GPPs. So when you see a 3-game slate, strategy-wise, before we start talking about players and games, how do you go about building for a slate that's only 3 games and there's going to be some ownership that you need to get different on?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing with a 3-game slate is you can't miss, right? Like, keep that in mind. You can't miss. So, everyone, people who play DFS a lot, they're into this. They're like, well, I have to be super different, and I want to play with different guys and get really low, which is true. You do want to be different. You do want low ownership. But if you big brain yourself and you do that too much and you don't play the guy who scores all the points, that doesn't help. So it's okay to play some chalk, right? It doesn't mean you have to avoid all chalk. Like, getting shares of Buffalo is okay, right? But just make sure that with that, there's enough other areas where you're getting different. You find ways to mix in guys who won't be Highland as well.
Yeah, so let's start breaking down this slate. The first game will be the most popular game on the entire slate. Everybody's going to be going to Josh Allen stacks. Everybody's going to want to get shares of Stephon Diggs and some Gabe Davis. It's going to be popular. It's going to be the popular stack, that's for sure. So, Joel and Dave, how do you go about this? Look, I'm going to be not mass entering, but I'm going to be entering a bunch of lineups on DraftKings. Everybody's going to have a share of Josh Allen. What is your approach, Dave? Are you locking in on Allen and Diggs, or maybe Allen and Gabe Davis, or a combination of both those guys with Josh Allen or Dawson Knox? How do you approach this game? It starts off the entire slate. If you fade early, you might want to just turn this game off and not watch it, because you get in one of the best offenses against one of the worst defenses. Defenses, 12:30, fireworks will be there in a dome. Your thoughts, Dave?
Yeah, I do think, you got to be heavy on the Bills. Implied team total of 32 is ridiculously high. Game total 54.5 is one of the highest we've seen all season. So you do have to get active in this game. And it's exactly what Joel said. Like, you got to get it right. That's just the bottom line in a 3-game slate. You got to get it right. And right's going to be a lot of Josh Allen. Listen, could I see Dak Prescott outscoring him? Sure. But you're not going to be that far off if you're going to play at least the Josh Allen. Where you got to get it right after that is the Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs combo. last week, they kind of shared the ball. They both scored kind of equal to each other. So this week, I got to find a way for me. I think it's heavy Diggs, and I do think we can find a way to get Diggs and Allen in the game if you also add up Knox, and then maybe come back with a, someone on Detroit. Jamal Williams obviously has been vulturing touchdowns. That's a great spot, but I don't know. I think DJ Chark might be the guy we come back with, something that I can start saving some money for the later games. But yes, I want to go at least three wide on Buffalo, and then maybe get a run back.
Joe, I was going to mention a name that Dave just mentioned. A guy that I feel like nobody really wants to play week in and week out. And the guy just keeps on smashing touchdowns with ease. He's trucking people at the goal line. He's not even getting all the touches, but he's scoring 1, 2, or 3 touchdowns every game. What do you think the ownership will be on Jamal Williams going into this game? Like, where does he sit? Just funny thing, like, I don't know. We're going to be doing a pack break, with the Reignmakers, and I'm looking at the pricing as it went up and down on these players. You can buy these. We'll talk about it more. But Jamal Williams' price has been going down, and then Stephon Diggs and the Allens have been going up. So it's kind of like a sample size of ownership. We have ownership at Win Daily as well, but I'm seeing less people want to roster them in the Reignmaker contest. So I'm thinking nobody's really going to be playing, or not that many people are going to be playing him. It just goes out. It's kind of like the Cordell Patterson of last year. It's like nobody rosters him. He wins people's money. And then I even got Rocker text me last week, like, why is nobody talking about Jamal Williams? Why is nobody rostering him? Is he the sneaky play in this game, or is he going to be higher owned than we might think?
Hard for me to tell. I think you make some good points, though, with him in that he's not exciting. There's risk in that there's Swift on the team. Will Swift eat more of the carries? I think Justin Jackson stole some of the carries last week. So I think people are starting to just, there's a lot of gray area around him. But you're right. He continues to come in week out and produce, which for a GPP purpose, and for someone who wants to hammer home Josh Allen, the Bills, and have some sort of run back, I think that's a really good fit.
Yeah, looking at Josh Allen and looking at our projection model, WinDailySports.com. If you want to follow along, just hop over there, use promo code WINBIG, and lock in for free. But, of course, we have Josh Allen up top. Then we got Dak Prescott. And then all the way on the bottom, we got Jared Goff, who plays better at home. He's got weapons. We got Amon-Ra St. Brown as the second highest projected wide receiver on the slate. You have, some other options as well. Khalif Raymond, he's trying to do his thing. He's cheap. There's going to be scoring in this game. We're all expecting that. You got a dome here. Jared Goff, and Allen's been slightly disappointing here. You can find a way that he doesn't hit the same, value that a Goff hits. And if Allen's having a good game or they're putting up a bunch of points from Buffalo side, would you be shocked if Jared Goff throws for 300 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns? Joel?
I like Goff. I think Goff's my favorite play outside of Allen of a quarterback to get different for a few reasons. One, I think after Allen, the most popular guy is going to be Dak. And so now that's even more different. We're going to get a lower ownership on Goff here. Let's not forget last week, Jacoby Brissett went off against this defense. So there's some holes here. They have some injuries. They're not playing as strong as they were in the beginning of the year. On a short week with not a lot of time to prepare, I think this is a week where if it is high scoring, maybe Goff can return some scores, even get some garbage scores. And at the, almost $3,000 cheaper than Allen, it allows you to really boost up the rest of your lineup with studs. And let's not forget, if Allen goes for 303 and Goff goes for 280 and 2, Goff's probably the better play, right? Or maybe Allen goes for 299 and 3, not to get the 300-yard boost. But my point is, they can be close, and Allen can still outscore him, but Goff will be the better play because he's significantly cheaper.
Dave, what's your thoughts on Goff? We know the pairing. You want Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's an easy pairing there. They're going to be playing from behind, most likely. Goff, if you're making 100 lineups, how many shares of Josh Allen are you going to have, and how many shares of Jared Goff?
Wow, 100 lineups. I'd probably get somewhere in the 50-ish% range with Allen. I just do. It's just, I know it's a lot, but I'll probably get somewhere in the 40-50% range. Goff would be lighter on the 10% side for me. It's not that I don't like him. Joel's situation works for me only if Buffalo's up so big. And that's what happened to Brissett a little bit last week. DPJ getting the late touchdown. Cooper had one too. So really for Goff to hit, they got to be down big. And that's very possible. Don't get me wrong. I kind of like some of the other guys later, maybe a little better and price the same. So Goff's probably in my 10% range, but he's in play. Don't get me wrong. He's in play.
Running backs now from this game. We mentioned Jamal Williams. We didn't mention Devin Singletary or any of the possible backups here for either side here. You got Swift, who's basically priced right around Jamal Williams. It's been the Jamal Williams show every single week. These three guys are cheap and they're all interesting. Singletary 5,700, Swift 5,600, Jamal Williams 5,900. Joe, with these running backs, and you got guys like Nyheim Hines that hasn't really done anything yet. And James Cook hasn't done much but been involved. Any thoughts on these running backs? If you're getting leverage off of Josh Allen, do you go to Singletary? Do you go to Jamal Williams? Do you go to Swift? Which is the running back that you like from this game?
Actually, one thing I'm doing to be a little different this week is I'm going ahead and pairing Singletary or Cook with Allen, right? Because not a lot of people are going to do that, right? And I think you're going to be a lot of people who go with Allen and the receivers and go away from this running game. And this is like we mentioned already, this is the highest total on the board. They can score a lot of points. There is certainly a path for Allen and the running back, especially a really cheap running back on the Buffalo team to get there. And I think that is a way to be different in a big tournament as well.
So, Joe, man, I'm going to go to you right now. This is your team in a big game, in a big spot. The Cowboys look mighty impressive against the Vikings. Your Giants are going to play the Cowboys after Tony Pollard ran the table. Zeke even scored some touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb disappointed everybody. Barkley had a really down day in a great matchup. Slayton didn't do much. Daniel Jones did a little bit, but Dallas favored by 10. Before we're talking about DFS, are the Cowboys that good? You got an Eagles fan on one side and Dave. You got Joel over here as a Giants fan. Are the Cowboys that good that they're favored by 10? I was shocked that they were favored against the Vikings and they showed up and they wiped the floor with them. But your thoughts here, can the Giants hold up? And if so, who do you want from the Giants side here? Is it the Barkley show? Taking a shot on Daniel Jones, which I don't think anybody or many people will do. He'll probably be one of the lower-owned guys due to the matchup. These Cowboys can attack the passer. You saw what they did to Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson for that. They locked down everybody last week. Thoughts on the Giants side, and how good are these Cowboys?
So I think from a Giants fan perspective, we got them back where we want them, right? Huge underdogs, getting no respect, like we were in the beginning of the year where the Giants were getting no respect. Everyone was laughing at them, and they won game after game. Then they started getting a little respect, and they lost a couple games, and now they're back to let's not forget, the Giants are still a top 5 teams in the league in terms of record. They are winning games. The Cowboys are coming off a really big game where now it feels like a little bit of a letdown spot. A couple days later, this is a division rivalry. The Giants are still a good team. I think the Giants are in a really good spot here this week.
Like I thought, our optimizer, Win Daily Sports, is obviously showing everybody playing Josh Allen. I think if anybody's playing one lineup on DraftKings, they're clicking Josh Allen. If they're playing 10, they're probably going to put him in 4 or 5 or 6. Some people will go overweight, but he's coming up around 50% owned right now. And like I thought, Daniel Jones coming in as the lowest owned quarterback. He actually just dropped while we're talking to under 10% on our optimizer. Jared Goff is number 2, lowest owned. So Daniel Jones can rush for a touchdown. I know it's a great defense in Dallas. He's playing on the road, but he's playing from behind here. He doesn't have much weapons from the passing game, but some way, somehow, he breaks a long run. This could be a situation that, Jones can get there. Joe, if you're entering 100 lineups, how many shares of Daniel Jones will you have? He might be listening. Daniel might be listening, so be careful there.
Listen, Daniel, I love you. You're playing great. And it's not a knock on Daniel. It's just the Giants win games. They win through defense, slow pace. Like, they don't run a fantasy-friendly offense. And so it's not a knock on his play. It's just not by design the way you want to target someone for fantasy purposes.
Dave, man, Saquon Barkley, guy is most likely the comeback player of the year. If you look at running backs right now, he is not the highest owned running back. He's the highest projected or second highest projected. We have Ramondre Stevenson we'll talk about next, who's fairly priced. Saquon's the most expensive guy on the entire slate from the running back position on DraftKings. He is the second highest projected scorer here. You're paying up against a tough matchup against the Cowboys. Where are you at with Saquon Barkley? Because he can have the best day out of all these running backs. He's got the most talent out of all these running backs. Maybe, some people can be high on Tony Pollard, but Saquon is one of the best in the league right now. Do you want to roster him? If you're entering one lineup, is Saquon on your team?
Absolutely not. And from Joel's perspective, I do think this is a decent spot for the Giants, but 8K is just too much for that good of a run defense. I got no interest in playing Saquon tomorrow, and I love Saquon. I got him in a lot of my season-long fantasy contests, but that's just too much when you got guys like Pollard at 6.6. I even like Cook against the Patriots. It's crazy, but there's some other spots I like tomorrow. Barkley would not be in my one-and-done lineup.
So, Dave, you're an Eagles fan. Are these Cowboys starting to worry you a little bit? And then which pieces of this Cowboys team do you want to roster? Are you in on CeeDee Lamb? Are you in on Dak Prescott? What's your decision between Pollard and Zeke? Everybody's going to be playing Pollard. I loaded him up last week. I hammered his props thanks to DraftKings on a nice, fair number you put on him on Saturday night. But your thoughts on the running back game, the passing game here? Are you on the Cowboys?
I am. Dak Prescott's done okay against the Giants. In his last 6 games, he's had 3 that were over 300 yards. So it's really all or nothing with Dak against the Giants. But I feel like this game's going to be the total at 45.5 is actually kind of sneaky high compared to Giants games we've seen in the past. Last week against the Lions, 44. Now you're getting 45 against Cowboys, a slower paced team. So we do expect some points here. I think you got to be active on the Cowboys side, and it's going to start with Dak and it's going to get to Tony. But I also think Schultz is at a great price at 3.8K. I know we have a comment talking about Cager as well at 2.7. I think tight ends are going to be the key to this week's contest. You got to get the tight end right. And if I'm going to load up somewhere, I'm probably leaning Schultz. I do like CD. Don't get me wrong. I just can't get to Dak, Pollard, CD. I got to break it up. And if I'm going to do that, I might leave Dak alone and go Pollard, Schultz. But to answer your question, I'm not that worried about the Cowboys yet. I respect the Cowboys. They're good. And they can beat the Eagles. They can go to the Super Bowl. No doubt about it. But they still got that guy coaching. And that's really where my line is. As long as Mike McCarthy's coaching and you get to a close game, and playoffs are close games, right?
What's funny about the NFL is like 1 week a team could look atrocious, and like their own fan base is like throwing in a towel, like this team is going nowhere. Then they beat the Vikings, and they're like, "Oh, America's team, this is the best team ever." Pollard Zeke combination is going to be explosive. Joe, what's the share of touches tomorrow? Let's give an estimated touch share from Pollard to Zeke. Zeke's a lot cheaper. I think you can get cute with Zeke this week. I don't know why, but seeing him out in the field last time, obviously Pollard's a guy that have. What's the touch share and what kind of ratio are you playing any Zeke, or are you just going to load up on Pollard?
No, I will sprinkle some Zeke in because I think the carries are close to even. They've been trying to give him split. Now Pollard will get more passes than Zeke, so he'll have a couple more touches, I think, in the overall scheme of things. But on the flip side, Zeke gets more goal line carries. So I think you have a higher percentage of touchdowns going to Zeke from that perspective. Pollard's better. Anyone who's watching the Cowboys can see Pollard is right now the better of the two players. He is the guy I prefer of the two. But I do think it's closer than people think for a GPP perspective. Like with the ownership difference, I'll definitely roll the dice and have maybe 10, 15% Zeke sprinkled in as well.
Yeah, one thing I'll mention, Joel, you mentioned it, trying to get different, but not, have a landmine in your lineup where you're taking a 0 or a 2 or a 3. One way to get different, there's a couple ways to get different. I remember in years past, obviously if you find a low-owned play, that's great. And he goes off, a wide receiver, long touchdown, he's 5%, 10% owned. You have extreme leverage on the entire field. But what it typically comes down to on these 3-game slates, 4-game slates, wild card slates, it's just that combination that people don't have. So you can have a 30% owned guy and another 30% owned guy, but nobody has that combination. So what are combinations people may not have? Dual tight end. So running a tight end in your flex and a tight end as a tight end, that's a way to get different. Another way to get different, taking 2 running backs from the same team, if it makes sense. And this might be a scenario where if game script is right, the Cowboys win by 10 or more. We saw it last week in a blowout. I'm not saying the Giants get blown out as bad as the Vikings did, but if you somehow, some way got to a lineup last week with Pollard and Zeke, with all the landmines out there, with Saquon, Joe Mixon getting hurt, so many different guys not hitting value. Zeke scored, Pollard scored. That combination would have been deadly. And in a 3-game slate, ownership on that will be even lesser. So there's going to be a way to get different on this slate. So think about ways to get different more so than taking a guy that you need an injury or something really wild to happen for him to score a touchdown in a blowout or something like that, where I think 2 running backs from Dallas could make sense. Another game where it could potentially make sense. It's the last game on the slate. 42.5. Kirk Cousins, this run for Minnesota got throttled by the Cowboys last week. They're favored at home against the Patriots. 2.5-point spread. Kirk Cousins to Justin Jefferson will probably be popular, but how much do we respect New England, this defense, Bill Belichick in the late hammer? It's going to be scared not having shares of Justin Jefferson late, but I'm going to try my best to temper my expectations because I do respect these Patriots, and I think Ramondre Stevenson is the pure play from this game. He is, from my perspective, mispriced at 6,400. He is your safest play. You have your best matchup for a running back, going against the Vikings out of all the running backs. He's 6,400. He's heavily involved, and you're getting a nice discount from a Barkley Cook, and you're getting the only problem is right now he's showing to be the highest owned running back on the entire slate. So, Joel Stevenson, lock button in your optimals or your main lineup. And as far as tournaments, are you going overweight or underweight on Ramondre Stevenson?
So I like Stevenson. I think he makes a lot of sense from a combination of touches, matchup, and price tag, because I think he has just as much upside as some of the running backs that are more expensive at a cheaper price. So I think he's worthy of the ownership. I'm probably going to end up being right about at that. I think I'll be even with the field. One way where I will be different is let's not shy away from Damian Harris. He's been hurt for a lot of the year. He missed a few games. They were splitting carries early on. He got hurt. Stevenson took over the backfield. Last week, Harris was better. He didn't get as many touches, but he was the better of the two. I still think Stevenson is the primary guy. He's going to get more touches. But there is a world where Harrison comes out and breaks a few runs and scores a touchdown. And at his price tag and a pretty low ownership, that's a really good way, I think, to get different as well.
Yeah, Dave, your thoughts on Harris, and then do you have the courage to play like a Mac Jones to Jacoby Myers or a Hunter Henry stack and get shares of this Patriots passing game against a Vikings team that could be gashed?
Yeah, I like Stevenson a lot. 78% of the snaps last week, 22% of the targets. He tied Jacoby Myers there. So he's going to be heavily owned, but I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with Joel's strategy there. I'm off Harris for a little bit. Again, getting 25%, I think 24% of the snaps. I know he's good. I know he's going to rise up eventually, and he's going to come in and really have one of those games. I'm just not sure if it's this week yet with how hot Stevenson is. So with the difference only being $900, I can't take a shot on Harris unless I really, really want to get different. That's my only way if I really want to get different. Now, I will say I don't have the courage to take the Jones to Myers combo, but I have some courage maybe to slide in a Jonnu Smith here. Again, talking tight ends, 3K. Jonnu got a good, he got 15% of the targets. Hunter Henry wasn't even around. So I could see myself maybe getting sneaky there. Jacoby, I could too as well. So I might play the receiver game. Minnesota's 19th DVOA against the pass, but I'm not playing Mac Jones.
Joe, any You guys would both be playing Zappy if he was playing. That's the funny part. You guys love yourself some Zappy, but
WKU, baby.
Mac Jones, Joel, 10% owned. Like, you're trying to get different. Like, there is a path. Look, Josh Allen I thought his season might be done. I thought he might be done for 6 weeks. He's had 2 down games. 50% of the field are going to be lining up, Allen to Diggs or Gabe Davis or Dawson Knox combination. Every other quarterback is going to be 10% owned. If any of them gets a rushing touchdown and throws for 250, they're going to be within points of Josh Allen. So Mac Jones, a little bit of rushing upside, maybe trailing in this game. Any love there? Like, out of the non-Josh Allen quarterbacks, give me your rating. Let's just go that way. Let's stop beating around the bush. If it's not Josh Allen, who is it at the quarterback position that you want more shares of?
My exact order is going to go after Allen, Goff, Dak, and then Mac Jones. Now, I'm not going to play a lot of Mac Jones. Maybe I'll play 1 or 2 lineups, but he'll be the only other guy I'll even consider playing, even though it's only going to be 1 or 2 lineups. So that it is.
So if that's the case, there's not going to be any Kirk Cousins to Justin Jefferson stacks. That's not a thing.
At some point, you got to draw the line somewhere, and you got to make a stance. And my stance is Bill Belichick shuts down Justin Jefferson, right? So, if I'm wrong, it's going to be a sad evening tomorrow night as Justin Jefferson goes off, as we've seen him do many times. But one of these spots, one of these guys who's 40% owned, if you want to play these big tournaments, you got to fade. That's the difference maker, is getting off of one of these really high owned guys and having that spot hit. So it's risky for me, but Justin Jefferson's the guy for me this week that I'm going away from.
Dave, if there's a wide receiver to target on New England, is it easy Jacoby Myers, or is it worth taking a shot on one of these other wide receivers? Because nobody's really going to play Jones. Not too many people are going to play Myers, but nobody's going to play, wide receiver 2, 3, or 4, or these tight ends for the most part. Is there another name that we should be thinking about for these Millie Maker lineups outside of Jacoby Myers and Ramondre Stevenson and Harris for the Patriots?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Devontae Parker is a guy that has all the talent, all the skill. He's been out the past couple of weeks, came back, limped around a little bit last week, only got 2 receptions. But if you looked at it before then, he got a decent amount of points. He was averaging just around 10, 11 DK points. And at 3,900, I think there's value there. And Devontae Parker, he's also a guy that, is a deeper threat, where Jacoby Myers is more of your kind of, possession receiver. So I see value in Devontae Parker, but I'm also with Joel with Justin Jefferson. I got to draw the line somewhere. That's a perfect way to say it. And that's why I'm big on Dalvin Cook in this game. I think early in the year, the Patriots were getting exposed in the running game, and then they kind of dialed it back and fixed that. But they've played some really, really bad quarterbacks recently where they could sell out on the run. They've played Zach Wilson twice. We saw what happened today with that. Jacoby Brissett. So I think this might be a game where he peels back, has some over-the-top help, and the box is a little bit freer. And I think Cook has a nice game here.
Story for another name. Why not Joe Flacco? This Jets defense is so good. Why don't you put Flacco in the game? I don't know why you got to get Wilson out, but what has Flacco done not to be in there, man? But we'll save that for another day. Joe, look, I'm on WinDailySports.com. You can lock in, check out our projection models, lineup optimizer, our guy Sticks Picks, one of the best in the business. He runs our projection model, updates it pretty much every day, adds a special source. If you're sorting by value, look, you can sort by projection here, and you'll see Diggs, Amon-Ra, CD, Justin Jefferson 4, then Gabe Davis. If you sort by value, Amon-Ra goes 1, Diggs goes 2 still, Gabe Davis 3, Lamb 4, and that the guy that I just mentioned, Jacoby Myers. Something's telling me he scores a touchdown tomorrow. I think he's going to be lower owned, 5,100, kind of like him there. Gallup. Can Gallup do it, 4,600? He's popping. And then these Giants wide receivers, man. Slayton went out there and had some big games. Richie James is popping. Value wide receivers. You're going to have to hit one of these guys, I feel like. Unless you go double tight end. Who is your favorite value wide receiver, Joe? Somebody under 5,100. I'll put Myers at the top. Somebody Myers or below that you like from a GPP standpoint, from an ownership standpoint, and somebody's going to go out there and have a big game standpoint? Who is that guy for you?
So there's two guys I'm looking at here in the same game. The first one is Devontae Parker. There's risk because of the injury. I don't know how healthy he is, but I think Dave made all the points earlier, right? We've seen him get past what he needs to get this year multiple times in terms of production at this price point in a really good matchup. So a lot of the stars are there. There's concern with his injury. If he's healthy and he's playing majority of the snaps at that price, he's my favorite value play because I think he should, at fully health, get there. If I do have to go away from him, the other guy I like for a GPP because of a combination of upside and ownership is KJ Osborne. If my idea is right that Belichick's going to take Jefferson out of the game and make them go to someone else, the next pass catcher, it could be a tight end, Hawkinson. Thielen, I think, is shot. I don't see the explosion there anymore. And the Osborne we saw 2 weeks ago at 11 targets. So we've seen him have big plays where he's broken off a 50 or 60-yard touchdown, at 3,600. This could be a week where he gets one of those at a pretty low ownership. You can be in a really good position.
Joel, before I go back to Dave, does any New York Giants wide receiver score a touchdown tomorrow? And if somebody does, who is it?
Maybe, but if it is, I don't think it's Slayton. I think the Cowboys, put their best cover guy on Slayton. He's going to have a hard day. So it's going to be someone random likely that, call me crazy. I'll call my shot. Maybe it is Kenny Golladay finally.
Oh, God. I was hoping you didn't say that guy's name, man. It's Golladay. Now, you know how tilted everybody's going to be if Kenny Golladay just ruins everybody's Thanksgiving with like 2 touchdowns somehow. Like this guy hasn't been like active on the field all week and he ruins everybody's Thanksgiving with a touchdown. Dave, I'll ask you the same question, man. Best value on the entire slate from the wide receiver position under 5,100. Who is it?
Yeah, and I'm similar to Joel. It's 2 names, both on the same team. But I'm going to the early game, and I mentioned earlier DJ Chark, and the only reason I'll sit here, I gotta contemplate: am I going to go to Chark or Raymond? Because the other two I like. Raymond had a really good target share last week. Has been averaging about 12 DK points over his past 5 weeks, so he's been really consistent. Chark only got 10 offensive snaps last week, got no targets, no catches, but we know he's better than that. So is he the guy that kind of sneaks up? They were just ramping him up with that Giants game and the wind. Don't forget, there was a lot of wind up in New York last week, so they didn't really open up that game too much. They had the underneath with Amon-Ra, and they had a lot of Jamal Williams. So one of those two I'm going to absolutely settle on as my value wide receiver. Leaning Raymond right now, but I just want to get a little more news. If I can get some confidence Chark will get more snaps, that's my guy.
Joel, last question on wide receivers I'm going to ask you. We got to get different. I haven't seen this guy. I hope you have a better analysis on this guy. I haven't been watching too many Giants games, even though I'm in New York, man. They were kind of boring to watch at times. Who is this guy, Hodgins? Is this a guy that we have to, contemplate playing 3K? So he's, in our optimizer, people are playing him already. Just because he's 3K, flat pricing. He's around 12% owned right now. Is there any value in this guy? Where did he come from? What do we expect from this guy? Because you mentioned Golladay. I don't know if I want to go there, but I don't know too much about this guy, Hodgins. What's your thoughts?
Hodgins should replace at least the snaps of Wendell Robinson, play that kind of role. I don't know much about him. I saw him play for a little bit, 2 catches. I wasn't super impressed, but he is minimum price, and someone's going to probably be on the field a good amount, which is hard to find. I think if the ownership was going to be under 5%, he'd be worth taking a shot on for the amount he'll be on the field and his price. But if it creeps up to 12, 15% for the amount of unknowns he has, I don't think it's worth one of those guys.
Yeah, he's currently showing 12% right now as of Wednesday night. Richie James, 7%. Golladay, 2%. And Slayton's only 8% because he's 5K. He's getting his numbers throttled down a little bit. You guys didn't mention Tyquan Thornton. Not sure he's really in play or not. Nobody's really playing him. Jacoby Myers is the only real pass catcher that's getting any kind of ownership, over on, the New England side of things. Raymond is more popular than most players on the slate. He's around 18% owned. Isaiah McKenzie, haven't heard him do much as of late. He's coming in around 18% owned. Thielen around 15% owned. Gallup is a guy that you can maybe take a shot on. 12% owned. KJ Osborne, 8% owned. So there's a couple guys there. Someone's going to break the slate. And Dave, if you're right with DJ Shark, he's around 1% owned right now. So that might be a guy that him and Tyquan Thornton, nobody's playing these guys. They might be a guy. And look, some of these 3K guys, if all the other 3K guys bust and some of the 4K guys don't do well, and these guys just come down with like 2 catches and a touchdown, it's kind of like a showdown slate. You know, you only need that 8 to 10 points when other guys bust, and he's the low-owned guy that nobody has, and you can get the value there from that spot. Last discussion before we make some lineups. Got to thank DraftKings again. We're going to be ripping some pack open. I'll explain the Reignmakers if you guys haven't played it. I've been playing it all year. Some of you guys laugh at me and say it's stupid, but I've had multiple takedowns from like not doing much. I hit a $1,500 tournament the other day. I actually made more money on Reignmakers this past weekend than my actual lineup. So kind of makes sense to actually get involved in this stuff, and I'll teach you guys how to play. But tight ends, you got Dalton Schultz, cheap, 3,800. Knox, cheap, 3,500. They're both popping as far as value. Paying up for Hawkinson at 5K, and then Hunter Henry. Tight ends is a spot to get different, man. Mm-hmm. If you get the guy that scores the touchdowns, that could be the difference maker. You know, ownership-wise, Joe, where are you leaning with these tight ends?
Yeah, I think Dave said this earlier. He's spot on. The best value position right now is tight end. These guys are receivers. They're on the field a lot. They're getting targets. But you're getting, you know, Schultz and Knox under 4K, which there's not a whole lot of guys that you can have a lot of confidence in under 4K on this slate. So I think Schultz and Knox make a lot of sense. And I'll be looking to roster them pretty heavily tomorrow in most of my lineups. And I also like Hawkinson right behind them because, like I said before, if my narrative is Belichick takes away Jefferson, it's hard for me to imagine them shutting out Minnesota, right? I do think some other guys will make plays. So then you look to your Cooks. To me, I think Hawkinson or Osborne. I think someone else is going to make some of those plays with the double teams and whatnot going toward Jefferson.
Yeah, Dave, I'll ask you the same question, man. Tight ends, is there a guy that you really like in a lower range? Are you playing around with these Tanner Hudsons or Brock Wright, you know, one of these cheaper guys? And, you know, one other thing I mentioned earlier, double tight ends, this is the week to do it. If you're going to go and try to get that value, they're there. And on our optimizer, Joe, I'm going to ask you too, what will you set the double tight ends to? Are you going to have zero exposure to the tight end in the flex, or are you going to get like 10, 20, 30% exposure to the flex? Dave, you go first. What tight ends do you like?
Yeah, it's absolutely Schultz number one for me. Let's just go to his last 3 games against the Giants. He's had 21 catches, 216 yards, so an average of 7 for 72. Line that up all day, 3,800. And that's recent history, right? That's 3 recent games against the Giants. Not saying the Giants don't play the tight end well, but just saying this is Dak's guy, right? Outside of CD. So I love him. I do think Knox comes a close second to me. I like the Hawkinson call. Don't get me wrong. I'm there. But if you're going to go dumpster diving for tight ends, it's Jonnu Smith for me. I think, you know, I think he scored last week. I'm pretty sure. But either way, New England's going to get they're going to get some yards in that passing game. And as far as it goes, double tight end, the sandwich attack, it depends how much I stack Allen. Maybe 15, 20%. I could see double tight ends. I really could see it a little more than my normal lineups.
Joe, how much percentage double tight ends we have? If you're entering 100 lineups, you want to set your lineups on your optimizer, win daily. How much tight end do you have in your flex?
So my tight end flex percentage is going to sound outrageously high. And it might be, and I might have to change it after this. But right now, it's like 50%. The reason for that is I didn't set exposure. I just said, here are my percentages, and they optimize it based on who the guys I presented. And like I said before, right, the best value plays you're going to find this week are at tight end. So for me to be able to play all the guys I wanted to play, I had to get cheap, and the best guys that my projections liked were tight ends to get doubled up.
All right, let's do it. Before we open up some Reignmaker packs and you guys laugh at me and see what I got to do over here. the slate, man. We're going to enter some lineups. We're not going to build full lineups. We're going to talk out some lineups right now as if we're trying to take down the Million Maker. I think it makes sense, you guys, to make one lineup with Josh Allen, still trying to get different, and then we'll make one lineup without Josh Allen. I think everybody's first button they're going to click to is Allen to Diggs. Now, if you go ahead and do that, you got around 4,800 left to go out there and build the rest of your lineup. Now, if you're going to an Allen to Diggs stack, Dave, are you automatically clicking Amon-Ra at 6,600 in next? Because that's going to be the chalk build of everybody's, first three in. That's that correlation they want. Maybe they'll be the second biggest stack will probably be Josh Allen, Gabe Davis to Amon-Ra St. Brown. What's your thoughts here? If you're going Josh Allen, where are you going next?
I can't run back Amon-Ra with two 8K players. I don't feel like I can get there. I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong. And Cooper had a big game against Buffalo, number one last week, had a big game against Buffalo. But, I prefer the Gabe Davis Allen stack. Last week, Gabe was 6,300. We're getting a $1,000 discount versus a much worse defense. But if I'm going to stick with the Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, I'll probably run it back with Raymond. He just seems like the safer bet and can get me a discount and allow me to pay out for some Cowboys.
Joe, who's the toughest guy to fade in your Allen stacks? Is it fading Diggs to try to come off of Diggs or fading Amon-Ra at 6,600?
It's harder to fade Diggs. I do like both. I do think you can play both. I think there's other ways to make this fit work. You obviously will have to get cheaper elsewhere. But I have I just think I really like Diggs this week, so I can't get it.
Don't you think running back Diggs and Davis with Allen is better than running back, Amon-Ra St. Brown with Diggs and Allen? I almost feel like it's better to do the full Buffalo stack.
I don't save money. Yeah. I don't want to. I actually think Davis is underpriced.
Yes.
For what he can, for his upside, to get him at 5,300. I probably would have thought he would have been in the 6K range and low sixes. So to get him that deep.
Yeah. I just think that's a way to build it. And I think that question, and Allen Knox duo, I'm there. I will get there on some lineups. No doubt about it. I'm going to hope that Allen runs for about 80 yards and a touchdown or two. And the passing game is light, and it's all to Knox. So, yes, I will get there at some point. Yeah,
look at Knox last week, man. He's 3,500. He caught all 7 of his targets for 70 yards. You typically don't see a stat line 777. Had a big day, 14 points. He's been consistent, man. As long as this guy's been healthy and on the field, he hasn't been scoring as many touchdowns as last year. But at 3,500, you really can't go wrong with Dawson Knox if this game stays the way we think it's going to stay. And, guys, I don't think it's crazy. Look, there's ways to get different in your stack. So if you want to go Diggs to Josh Allen to Amon-Ra, very little people will then go get Gabe Davis and then also get Dawson Knox on top of it. And you're basically playing a game script that Allen goes for 400 or 350 with 3 or 4 touchdowns, 120 to Diggs, 100 to Gabe Davis, and then 50 and a tutty to Dawson Knox here. That's not out of the realm. You got to play these game scripts in your head. What would happen if this happens? How many people will have 3 pass catches with Josh Allen? Not too many people. So there's a way to get different. And look, you're building a lineup with $4,600 left. This is not the optimal way to build it, just building one lineup, but this is a way to get different for sure. Joe, you make the decision, though. I'm going to let Dave make the decision in the second lineup that we build, but you make a decision. What do you want your Allen stack to be? Do you want it to be Diggs and Amon-Ra and nobody else? Do you want to go a little bit over? Or do you want to take one of these guys out? What do you think the optimal Allen stack would be tomorrow?
All right, so it's my decision. Listen, I'm going to have lineups where I play Davis, but for this lineup, I'm going to keep Amon-Ra, Diggs, and Knox. I'm going to remove Davis.
Okay. Now, Dave, running backs, we've talked about them. If you go Amon-Ra, Stephon, and Dawson Knox, we can always go cheap at defense. Like defense, you can take a shot on the Giants and hope Dak has a bad game. And, just Giants defense is not as bad as people think they are. And Dallas's offense is not as good as they are. They've struggled a lot this year with Dak, without Dak. And you got the Patriots here at 3K. So if you go to the Patriots, you back up to 5,200. We're not going to talk too much about defenses. I'd get shares. We'll talk about it a little bit, but running backs, Dave, you write articles at WinDailySports.com. You're breaking down the running back position. Who do you like tomorrow, given the fact that, hey, we're a little bit priced up here? We could probably go mid-range with one of them, but we also need one of the guys on the cheaper end. How do you feel about the running backs?
Anybody see Tony Pollard last week?
He's kind of good at football.
Yeah, I'm not picking him. I'm picking the team he played against, and that was the Minnesota Vikings, who were just an absolute sieve to a guy that could catch the ball out of the backfield. We've seen Ramondre Stevenson have one of the better hands as running backs, and I think I like him just a little bit better than Pollard, and I think he can expose that weak Minnesota linebacking core once again. I'll take Stevenson as my number one to fill in there. He's 200 less than Pollard. I would rather have a Pollard-Stevenson stack, but I just don't think we can afford it with what we built so far. So I'll take Stevenson.
Dave, the pressure's still on you. Running back, you got to go cheap now. Don't even think about Barkley or Dalvin Cook. With this stack, you got to have to go cheap. Who's the cheapest running back you'd be willing to play in a Josh Allen stack?
I want to get to Cook, but we already
no shot.
I know, but we already sat there and took too much of the Buffalo offense, so I can't get to Cook.
You can take
that Cook. Okay.
Oh yeah. No, I was talking James. I'm sorry, his brother. All right. Yeah.
About to say 7,400. We don't got money like that right now.
No, I think I would try and look. I hate it, but I think in this instance, I would try and get some Zeke shares. I think get me a touchdown or two like he's been doing. And like Joel said earlier, it's closer to 50-50 with the carries. And if he's getting healthier, I mean, don't forget, I keep saying it's McCarthy. So they'll find a way to get this guy the ball, I guess. And I hate it, but I guess that's where I would lean.
I got the twisted mind, like who can ruin Thanksgivings the most? Like, and when I think about that, like who'd be the most tilting guy to ruin a Thanksgiving? It would be DeAndre Swift. Like this would be the DeAndre Swift game where it's like Jamal Williams every single week. So get some shares of Swift just to be that guy. So when everybody else is like throwing their remote and like angry at their family on Thanksgiving, you have DeAndre Swift like, oh, this is the guy that everybody took in the second round or late first round. And Jamal Williams is not scoring those goal line touches. And it's a high scoring game. And Swift catches like 7 or 8 balls late in this game. Don't be shocked. Like, don't throw the remote. Don't be mean to your wife and kids when DeAndre Swift goes out there and spoils everybody. Like, get a couple shares. Like, if you're playing on DraftKings and you have $100 or $1,000, my suggestion wouldn't be just to enter like 4 lineups into the Million Maker, and that's your budget. Like, go enter a couple $3 lineups, a couple of dollar lineups, $5 lineups, $7 lineups, and spread it out so you can get exposure to all these possible players. Because there's only a certain amount of players that will go off this slate, and you want to get your exposure set so you can maybe you don't take down the Millie, but hey, you can take out a $20,000 tournament. It's still a good day. So I would get some ownership to guys like DeAndre Swift. Because I think if this,
let me just say, I would also lean Justin Jackson then. I mean, he got more snaps last week than Swift. He got the same amount the week before, and he's $1,500 cheaper. I hear you with the targets. I think he'll get a little more in that game. But if you want to get really, really different, 9 for 66 last week, a guy that's, could, one of those two gets hurt, right? Say Swift rolls his ankle. This guy could come out of nowhere and really steal some numbers. So I'm hearing you on Swift, but you want to get really different. Jackson's been playing.
Yeah. Joe, we have talk about strategy real quick to finish up this lineup. Strategy-wise, if you're stacking Buffalo, Detroit, and you have, 2 pass catchers with a Detroit guy, and then you have some shares of Dallas, some shares of New England, which game are you trying to stack up second? Would it be more of the New England, Minnesota side here? Are you playing it? I just want the best plays from my lineups, or are you trying to get like a stack from one game and a mini stack from another game? Is there a game that you're leaning more so on fading?
So at this point, with my stack pretty heavily loaded on the Bills game, I'm looking to diversify as much as possible because I don't think I don't want to stack one game anymore. I figure the scoring. I don't see another super high scoring game. So I don't want to play more than 2 players from a team beyond my original stack. So from here, I'll look to maybe. I think we can go. I don't think we have anyone on Minnesota. I'm okay with taking a shot on, if we can afford it, either Osborne or Hawkinson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Osborne obviously would work here at 3,600. You play him in there. You go with the defense. The Patriots are probably going to be the chalk D after what Dallas did to Minnesota, and vice versa what New England kind of did to the Jets, or it's just Zach Wilson. What a bum this guy is too, man. Like, you're like this little kid out there. He's like, no, it's not my fault. Like, dude, you're terrible. Like, how is it not your fault? Whose fault would it be if it's not you? Like, all the wide receivers been complaining about you all season long, and you have the courage to be like, nah, it's not me.
Because he's Richie Rich. Like, grow up in an affluent lifestyle and nothing's ever your fault. And he showed it. He showed it.
He's a bum. He'll be out of the league in quite some time. I don't know if you guys saw the highlight of my Jets season, whereas someone on Twitter mentioned, like, the Jets are so bad, like Zach Wilson is something like Ryan Leaf. And Ryan Leaf comes in and comments on this guy. It just he's like, I had a better 10 years than any Jet fan, and I spent like half of those years in jail and in rehab or whatever he said. I was like, wow, man, this guy just laid it to every Jet fan that I know, man. But that was a good comeback. Real quick, before we rip these packs real quick, I'm going to clear this out. Dave, pick our second quarterback. Not your optimal, but your second favorite stack. Give me a quarterback wide receiver combination or quarterback tight end combination, whatever it is. Give me that stack you're going to go to if it's not Josh Allen.
Yeah, I heard Joel say his 2 is Goff and his 3 is Prescott. I have him flip-flop, so I'm going to go Prescott. I mean, Goff, like I said, I'm not far off. He's probably my 3. So I'll go Prescott as my play in this lineup build.
If you're going Prescott, who are you running it back with on the Dallas side and the Giants side? Is it Barkley?
No.
Comeback? Is it a CeeDee Lamb after he shit the bed on everybody last week? High owned? Where are you at?
Yeah, it's probably Pollard, Schultz. It could be Pollard, Lamb. I just think we get a little too much exposure there. So you know what? Let's do this. We're gonna go Prescott, Lamb, Schultz. I'm gonna try and get different with Pollard this week.
Okay. Who are you running it back with on the Giants side, in this game stack?
Yeah, they need to pass this ball. I'm just convinced. And I just can't. I think you guys said something neat about Galladay. I think he could be just a complete, joker. But I will take, and that's in many different terms there. But I'll take Slayton on the run back. I know he might see a little bit of Diggs, but Diggs is a gambler. Slayton plays everywhere, right, Joel? You get him outside, you get him inside. You're never going to be able to just match up the number one against them. They'll move him around. I'll take Slayton as my run back.
You guys never asked me any questions, so I'm gonna ask myself a question. If you're fading Dallas, and if you're fading Buffalo and Detroit, and you're not going to Josh Allen stack, I think a way to get kind of cute is playing that guy that everybody would be really upset to go off, which would be DeAndre Swift, and then hoping that Josh Allen, he can throw for 250 and 1 touchdown, and then a guy like Devin Singletary vultures all the touchdowns. I think it's a good leverage off of your Josh Allen stack. So if you're not going Josh Allen, don't be afraid to hope and pray that Singletary, Allen throws the ball to the 1-yard line, Diggs gets tackled, Singletary runs it in. Singletary breaks one from 30. Play that script out. That's why you fade Josh Allen in the lineup and you go to Singletary. And then if Buffalo's winning by a bunch, Swift is catching passes out of the backfield. Could be a nice little combination. I don't see that. If Josh Allen is 50% owned, that means a lot of those lineups won't have Singletary, and Swift is going to be around 10, 12% owned. Not saying you have to play it that way, but it's a way to get different in your GPPs. If you're trying to take down a million maker, go into the most popular game and then go into the least popular guys in those games that are still relevant. It's probably Singletary and Swift. Joe, wide receiver for the stack, man. You pretty much can get almost anybody here. If you want to get different here, who's the guy you're going to?
At this point, I think it's a good spot to go back to Buffalo, who should still score points. I think just for pricing reasons, Gabe Davis makes a lot of sense in this lineup.
Yeah, he does. Definitely does. And you can throw a flex spot. Like if I'm playing this lineup here, I wouldn't mind getting, you can get any defense here. Say if you went as high as you wouldn't go to the Cowboys here, you can maybe go to Buffalo or you go to the Pats here. And then you probably don't want Jefferson, but you can go ahead and get a Barkley or a Diggs. So many different options, so many different ways to play it. You want to check us out at windailysports.com and lock in with our projection models, our lineup optimizer, and all the guys right now are chatting in our Discord chat. So you're going to want to do that. Joe, I tried to sell you on these Reignmakers a couple weeks ago when he got off air. Dave, you're too old for Reignmakers. I know you're not into that kind of stuff, but maybe I can sell you. You can kind of hop on with your kids right now and kind of play it out. But just so you guys know, Joe, I didn't even know they had 2 million makers. I'll be honest. Like I lock in tonight. Once the kid's asleep, I'm going to lock in. But I bet you didn't know. That they also have the Reignmakers Millie Maker. Reignmaker. Oh, now, Dave, you peeked your head up. Now you're interested.
You actually tuned me out with the too old because I got NFTs. I've been playing NBA Top Shot. I know all this stuff.
Oh, okay.
All
right.
So, I'm not even that much older than you guys, but go ahead.
Yes. So, DraftKings have these Reignmakers, right? And this week, so if you go up top on DraftKings and you go to, the marketplace, let's go to Reignmakers for a second. And you go into the lobby here. They have a special tournament. Like typically they have a $100,000 tournament, a $10,000 tournament. There's no entry fee. You just need the NFTs, the Reignmaker cards to go out there and play. But this week, for Thanksgiving, they have a special Turkey Day tournament, Millie to first. Joe, you heard that. Millie to first. Last time I checked, which was earlier today, guess what, Joe? They got $1 million to first, and there's only 2,400 people entered in this contest right now. I already got my one entry in, but I'm going to definitely be entering more as the night goes on. So you just click on this. Real simple. There's no entry fee. You're not spending. Look, there's 2,300 people currently in there. It could be unlimited, but the pace of play maybe gets to 3,000, 4,000. Probably my best shot ever to take down $1 million because I don't really enter these $4,000, $5,000 things. And I'm not lying. It's $1 million to first. This is not like fake NFT money. $1 million is like real dollar bills that go into your DraftKings account after you win. And second place, 100K. Not that bad. So you have a 1 in 3,000 or 1 in 2,300 shot at $1 million. And all you really need. So just to explain the game to you guys, if you haven't checked it out already, you're just making a lineup with a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and a flex position. Now, with this contest, you need what's called a holiday card. It's got to be a core card, and it needs to be basically what's called a flannel. They had like a special edition flannel for this contest, right? So you can buy these packs right now. They're like $199 per pack, and you get one flannel per pack. And it's just going to be guys from this slate. But I opened up one pack earlier, and my flannel was like that guy Shakir from Buffalo. Probably not a guy that you really want, but you get 4 other cards in the pack, so you can get other expensive cards that you can go out there and sell in the marketplace. Right now, last time I checked, if you were smart, you would have picked up cards earlier, like the Josh Allen flannel card. Dropped as low as like $300 in the marketplace. You don't have to go to the pack. It's up to like $480 now. So it's been going back and forth in price. Like I was telling you earlier, Jamal Williams is cheap as like $50 that you can pick up. And I'll show you the marketplace real quick just so you're basically making a 5-man lineup. And I have my cards here. So like the flannel ones, let me try to find one for you. I think I have. Let me go through here. All right, so like see these like the Gabe Davis one right now, that's a flannel one. So you need to get these cards and you can sort it in the marketplace. Like if you just want to go out there and straight up buy it, which you could, make your best lineup. Now, Joe, I know what you're going to do after this. You're going to go buy an optimal lineup. I'll give you one hint. With it only being a 3-game slate and then a 5-man lineup, there might be a chance of a tie. their tiebreaker goes by edition. So you can buy a pack right now. This is the pack you want right now, the holiday pack where you'll get one of those flannels. But if you just go into the marketplace here, and you go to, hold on, sorry, and you go to shop in the marketplace, you can just go in there and sort by the holiday edition card, and you can sort by the flannel edition. So you click on holiday here, just so you guys see. Computer, it does run slightly slow at times. So you gotta don't click so fast when you get into. And you go to, you need a core card. Core is actually like the cheapest version of their card. And then Elite gets more expensive. Legendary, Reignmaker gets more expensive. But for right now, you can only play with the core cards. The core cards come in up to 800. So if you tie, what they end up doing, they count your addition of all the 5 cards. And whoever has if you had the number 1 of each of them and you tie, you're definitely going to win. So you got to kind of factor that in if you want to. But if you're making a unique lineup, it don't really matter. So if you sort by the highest price ones, like I said to you earlier, you could have picked up the Josh Allens at like 330, 300. I've seen him going up to 430, which is not bad. I actually picked one up for like 389 yesterday. But if you want to make a stack, like the optimal stack of Allen to Diggs, running back of Amra, you're going to be spending like $1,100-$1,200 right there. But if you want to get different, you're building a lineup with just these guys. If you go with a Goff stack like you like, Joe, and then Saquon is cheap, there's other ways to build and get different. And you can go with Jamal Williams cheap. If this guy goes for 2 touchdowns, he's going to be a good value. So you're getting your value based on what you're paying for these cards. And you can sell them afterwards. They hold value. They hold utility for other contests on Sundays. You can use them for the rest of the time. So it's actually a lot cooler than the other NFTs where there's actually no utility at all. So you're entering contests for free with these things. So I got a couple packs that I reserved. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my cards here and open it. You guys better not jinx me. Root for Josh Allen's, root for some Stephon Diggs. Let me get some high-priced cards here. So you go, I have a bunch of them already, but you go to the pack section after you. So basically, you can buy these. You can sell them. I've bought this. This is like the highest tier one, like the legendary. There's a Reignmaker status, but my card made me some money. There's different ways to go about it. You can buy cards that you project to be good. And then when guys get injured, if you're quick to the marketplace and get, like a Deontay Foreman after – Hubbard goes down, you get him cheap and stuff like that. But let's go ahead and open these packs. You just click open. You wish for good things. And these packs all come in 5. So as you can see here, there's a rare, core. Rare is like the second of the, it goes from core to rare to elite to legendary Reignmaker. If you get a Reignmaker, they're worth more money. But a rare is still fine. So I got a Zach Ertz. That's not a good card to get. You guys already jinxed me, man. You guys are terrible, terrible friends, man. You give me a guy who's probably out for the season. So that's not a good card. We're not happy about that. Jalen Tolbert, not happy about that. So far, not looking so good. Najee Harris is a core card. It's probably worth a couple bucks. But Tolbert, who knows, man? What's crazy is I have all these cards. Montgomery, Garrett Wilson, great. But what's funny is I make all these lineups. And I try to make my best lineups. And this is kind of like a story about, making lineups in general. But I make my best lineups first. I get my Allen to Dig stacks. And you guys would be shocked. The one I finished in 6th place. I have 3,000 last week. My stack was Mariota to Cooper to Pollard. Who would build that lineup? But when you get these cards, you got to enter them all. You just enter these random tournaments. All right, it's a free tournament. Let me make a lineup out of it. So why not go ahead and do it? And that was a lineup that ended up winning me $700. I finished in 6 out of 4,000. Oh, another Shakir card. So this is a flannel rare card. You got Marcus Jones. Joe, who's Marcus Jones? Can you help me out here? Do you know who Marcus Jones is?
What are you looking at? We used to
Yeah.
Oh, I'm open the wrong one. Oh, hold on. Let me share the. I got too many DraftKings open here. Let me go back here. My bad. Where is it? Is it this one? No, it's this one. Yeah, so I opened a second pack here. Marcus Jones. He must be a defender. But this is like, so this would be a lineup. You can play defense in your flex too. And the Patriots defense, not too many people can build lineups for Marcus Jones. So that could be like the million maker lineup. You just throw a defender for New England in there. And if they did what they did last week, it can be the winning lineup as well. So Judy, another hurt. Did I get all the hurt guys in my lineups, man? What's going on here? Christian Kirk's still alive, so that might be useful on Sunday. And Brian Robinson, okay, getting a little better.
Still alive. Yep.
Yeah, still alive. Yeah. It's messed up, man. Still alive.
Hey, I'm just repeating.
All right. Oh, so we got an elite card. So elite is like one level above rare. So these cards are more pricey. So if you get like an elite Jalen Hurts, that'll be like $1,000 card here. Or if you get like a Mahomes. So let's see what we got here.
Let me ask. Tannehill?
You got it?
Yeah.
Tannehill?
What is this pack here that you're opening? Is this the 199 or what is that?
Yeah, this is the 199 pack. So every 199 holiday pack, you get one of these flannel cards, and you need 5 flannel cards to enter into this contest.
Got it.
So I got a Giants defense here. Again, I'll end up making a lineup with this dude just because I have it. And who knows? Maybe the Giants run back a kick or something like that. You never know. Jacobs core card. This Tannehill card is probably worth, I would say, $120, $150. So you're pretty much making your pack value back right now with that Tannehill card. Mark Andrews, this card's probably worth like $20, $25, something like that as a core. And Drake London doing well as well. So this is a pretty, this pack is worth more than $200, more than the value of the pack that I just broke open. And I broke open packs for like $40, $50 that had like $1,000 card that I went ahead and sell or either sold it or used it to make lineups and stuff like that. And the utility is there week to week. You can just keep on entering contests. So 2 more packs. Nothing that was super, an awesome card, but it's coming. It's coming.
I feel it.
Can I ask
Go,
a question?
Joe.
2 questions. So to confirm, you have to play all flannel cards to enter the tournament, right?
Flannel core. So the core is the lowest level. So they want people to enter this. So flannel core is the 5 you need. So don't buy like a flannel elite and pay more money because you have to play 5 core flannels. I'll have 5 of them after this, and I'll show you how to do it.
So the elite and the core, I mean, they're just different contests. So like an elite contest is you can only enter elite cards in.
Yeah. So like an elite contest, typically in a core contest, you can enter 5 core, or you can enter if you have a higher value one, you can enter a higher value one into a core contest, but not vice versa. And then in an elite contest, you have to enter 4 elite, and then you can have 1 level below 1 card of that, so 1 rare. So you have to kind of strategize with your cards. Okay, if you really want Diggs in your lineup for on another contest, but you can't afford the elite one, you can put him as your 1 rare, get a discount on that pricing group, and then get the rest of the 4 cards in elite, if you kind of understand my flow. Let's see here. Give me a good one. Okay, so this Hopkins card, I'll show you. This Hopkins card is probably this is definitely worth more than the pack itself. So this is a positive ROI on this pack, just off this Hopkins card alone. Now, Dawson Knox, this could be a low-owned flannel that goes out there and, has a big day tomorrow, and he's going to be lower owned. So I'll definitely play this card as well. Waddle card. This is the best pack by far. You get a Waddle card, you get a Knox card, and you get a D-Hop elite card. This is a solid pack right here.
Told you it was coming.
And you get a Kyler Murray. So you get another. This is the best pack that was drawn. And a Tua. So they blessed me with this pack. This is the best pack that you can possibly get. Or one of the best packs. You can definitely get a better pack if you got a higher tier one of these. But this is a really good pack where if I just went out there in the marketplace and flipped these cards, I'll show you, Joe and Dave, just so you can see. If you go here and Where's that Hopkins card? Too many cards. Yeah, if you go to this Hopkins card, you can just go and sell this card right now. If I wanted to, let's see. But I'm going to keep this card because I end up using this card on Sunday or whenever Arizona plays next. Like if you go to Hopkins and you just search his name, you can click on those tabs to search his name, and you go into the marketplace for a Hopkins card, and then you sort it by. If I just want to go to Rarity Elite, which is this one I just pulled, and you go sort by whatever, it's not that many. See this one right here? The lowest priced Elite Holiday card is $750. The lowest priced tier Elite of a Hopkins card is $480. So right there on that card, and this one's worth $750. But even if I wanted to like undercut the market here and put it at like $475, I basically doubled or tripled my value of my pack at a $199 pack. This card, I believe, is going to be used for a future Million Maker because it has like this special holiday fit thing and it's elite. I think it's going to be used for the next Million Maker on Christmas. That's my guess. I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but that's like it's anywhere from like a $400 to $700 card. And if Hopkins continues playing well, it could be $1,000 card. And then in showdowns, like if Arizona falls on a showdown slate where you have to play Arizona players, the value of those cards for that week goes up even more if he's on a Thursday night or a Monday night slate and stuff like that too. So I'll go open his last pack real quick. Where are we? And then, like I said, that was my best pack by far. And then Joel and Dave, just so you know, like if you guys are going to play and stuff like that, like on like the Sunday night slates or the Sunday day slate, like the main slate and stuff like that, the legendary or the Reignmaker ones, if you buy like a Reignmaker cards and you have like 2 or 3 of those, you can enter it's kind of like a higher entry contest. And you go ahead. Another Shakir, man. Like, this guy's going to score some touchdowns tomorrow, man, because I got so many Shakir cards wrapped up in his mix. Yo, what is going on, Dave? Dave, are you even watching this? I just drew 2 Shakirs, man. I already had 2 Shakirs.
I know.
Man.
I'm actually in here trying to look around myself to pick up a pack. That's what I'm doing right now. You get all the Shakirs, I'll get the Allen.
Jameson Williams. So this is kind of cool. I actually got a bunch more flannels. You're not like guaranteed to have this many flannels, but it just sucked. Oh, Deshaun Watson, he might be valuable in a couple of days. But yeah, 2 Shakirs and a Jameson Williams. Williams is hurt. So look, that one pack was great. The other pack so-so, but I've pulled $2,000 to $3,000 cards in packs of like $200, $400. So it's pretty cool. And then, like I said, man, like if you go into the lobby now, and you go ahead and hop in. So the one you want to enter for this, Thanksgiving or Turkey Day slate is the Million Maker core, and you need 4 cards. So you just go to Game Set, do the Thursday, and you go to the core. Boom, it's right there. And they have other contests as well where you don't have to enter. Like this is a special one where you have to enter the 5 holiday cards for the Million Maker. But Joe, like I was saying to you before, man, if you go into like legendary, you uncheck core, this is a $10,000 to first slate for Thursday. So if you happen to have 3 elite cards and 2 legendary cards for this 3-game slate, you're playing in a contest. I'll show you where you can win $10K to first. And as of right now, I think there's only like 198 people in. There'll be more in by tomorrow, but like I don't have a quarterback on this slate for this, but I do have. Oh, they're making you do. Oh, so this is only flannel. So I do have a Shakir, and it's weird. This must be just one game here because it's weird. But yeah, you can enter different contests and stuff like that. It's actually really cool, man. I've been playing it all year. I've been more profitable on these contests than the regular ones. So I think it's awesome. It's a great product. So much better than Top Shot, man. I got burned to Top Shot. You guys can laugh at me, but I spent a ton of money in Top Shot. These guys dropped the ball. A lot of people held the bag, and there's no utility at all for this thing. But as you can see here, man, you can buy cards, go in the marketplace, strategize, try to get the right players in, and you can build out lineups. And like I'm gonna build this real quick, but it won't. So I got a Saquon card. I need more flannels to get this right because I use my other lineup here, but I'll throw this guy Shakir in there. I got a Gabe Davis. And Joel and Dave, just so you know, you can only play one superstar guy in your lineup. So you can't play Barkley with you can play Barkley with Goff. You can't play Barkley with Josh Allen. He's like the only other superstar. Justin Jefferson is a superstar as well. You can only play one superstar. So just remember that when you're like buying stuff in like the what's it called in like the marketplace, don't buy. If you're only making one lineup, don't buy two superstars so you can't play them in the same lineup. And if you go in details, it says like 5 holiday cards and 1 superstar in that mix. So I need to pick up another quarterback. I was hoping to get some more quarterbacks in this pack, but I'm going to have to go to the marketplace. And if you want like say you want a Cousins or a Goff, you have to go in here. It's easy to buy it in the marketplace because for this contest, you need a holiday one, which is going to be way more expensive than these cheap ones right here. So just go in the marketplace and buy them out. But that's about it. You guys have any questions for me since I've been degenning on these things for a while? Dave, Joe, any question on these?
I'm intrigued. I'm still figuring this out as we go. I'm trying to understand the flannel versus non. So you can play 1 non-flannel, 4 flannel.
No, this one you have to play all 5 flannel. Like this one you can't. You can't play. And this is like a special one. Typically, you can just play 5 cores. They can be from any set, anywhere. Same thing with like the elites or the rares or anything else. You can play pretty much anybody you want within that set. But it says for this like special holiday drop Million Maker, they got to be flannels and they got to be cores. So I would just be buying cards. Just go in there, go rarity, tier, core, and then holiday set flannel, and just buy 5 cards from there. Or buy marketplace. Buy the packs and hope you get a pack with like a Diggs and an Allen in that flannel set. So that's about it, guys. I'm going to take down Amelia tomorrow with some flannel cards. I got a good feeling. I got some good stacks. I got to find a way to get different, man. I got to find a way to get different in a 5-man lineup here. A lot of people are going to be playing that Diggs combination. I got my optimal stack already built. I built that shit like earlier this week. It's probably going to tie some people if that ends up being it because it's probably the chalkier of the stacks. But I think got some sneaky ways to go about it. And Shakir is obviously going to score like 3 touchdowns tomorrow because I have so many Shakir cards now. So he's going to be the guy that goes off, man. Joel, last question, man. We'll get out of here. Million Maker, non-flannel, non-Reignmakers. Who's the one guy that goes out there and takes it down? Who do you need?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm going to go with Dawson Knox.
There you go. Dave, man, before we get out of here, Million Maker, who's the guy that you need in your lineup that nobody else will really have?
Oh, and that nobody else will really have. That's
well,
tough because with
10 to
15%
15% of people will have. Let's go someone off, or go the popular guy if you want to go popular.
No, then I'll I like Knox as much as Joel, but I'll go with Schultz. Then I'll go with Schultz.
All right, I'm gonna go. If there's a week for this guy to do it, it's gonna be DeAndre Swift, man. He's gonna ruin everybody's Thanksgiving. He's gonna be the Grinch that stole Thanksgiving and goes out there and scores all those Jamal Williams touchdowns. Jamal Williams can't just be scoring 2 touchdowns every single day without Swift getting in there. So I think Swift can be the guy that ruins things. I'll get some shares just to be funny, and I'll be happy with everybody else is kind of grumpy on Thanksgiving. But Joe, appreciate you, man. Dave, appreciate you as well. Everybody who's been liking and subscribing to all the shows. I'm assuming you guys will probably still do a Friday NCAA football. Do they play college football this week? Is that a thing still or no? Yeah, still a thing?
Yeah.
All right, man.
Oh, yeah. This is huge. Yeah.
And just to answer this question, Chris, yes, you can use them every single week. You got a question in the
comments about the cards.
Yeah, Chris, you can use them every single week. I've been adding to my collection. I've been selling my collection. I've been going back and forth, matchup dependent. If I think there's a value out there, I'll go out there and buy them. But yeah, some of the same cards I had week 1, I'm playing week 11. And like I said, just like DFS, my best lineup last week, like if I showed it to you guys, I would never hand build that lineup. I built like 10 other lineups. Like, all right, I got to use this Mariota card. I got to use Cooper. He sucks on the road, but let me just throw it in this lineup. And that was a lineup that went out. And like I said, I finished like 6 out of like 4,000 people. I would never make that lineup, but I had to use these cards. I'm like, it's a free entry. Worst case scenario, I'll double up and win $10. And they have like double up contests, and there's not technically overlay, but there's early in the year, like you can buy 5 cards and you can auto cash because not enough people enter it. So it's like if you had the cards, you can play the games, and yeah, you can use them all year. And I think you can even use them next year too. I've asked the DraftKings rep, you might even be able to use the same cards next year, so they hold utility even longer. And anytime you want to kind of cash out, you can. It's gonna be tough to cash out on somebody like Darrell Henderson who just got cut, but you can definitely cash out on like a guy like Dawson Knox if you just want to undercut the market and go get your 20, 50, $200 back. I sold a Waller card for like $2,000. I sold a Jalen Hurts card, a Jamar Chase card for over $1,000 when it first opened up. So yeah, you can sell them, you can buy new ones, and you can also use them week to week. But we're out of here. Got to get some rest. Got to go make some lineups and stuff like that. Joe, good luck. Dave, good luck. Grateful for everybody checking on the show, hanging out with us for the past hour. And we are out of here.